today is the kickoff of the final celebration of the museum's 100th anniversary. The museum officially opened 100 years ago on December 16th, 1911, and here it is December 16th, 2011. And all year long we've been having lots of different activities and events to celebrate our 100th anniversary.
1911, the Isaac Delgado Museum of Art opened its doors with only 9 works of art. Today, the museum, now known to you as the New Orleans Museum of Art, has almost 40,000 objects in its permanent collection, including 110 new outright and promise gifts in the exhibition NOMA 100 Gifts for the Second Century, which is currently featured in the LOS Freeman Gallery on the first floor. This exhibition truly represents the diversity of our collectors, their passions, and the aspects of the collection. To walk through the show, I've said, is almost like going through a mini museum. This has been a year of celebration, a year of celebrating our permanent collection. Our exhibition calendar has highlighted the collection and the strengths of our collection, featuring exhibitions of Japanese art, Indian art, and African art. NOMA's remarkable permanent collection is the foundation for all that we have done this year, and it has grown immensely in the past century. The encyclopedic collection could not have been created without our collectors, our donors, and especially Director Emeritus John Bullard, whose 37 years of service brought our collection to new heights. We're also grateful to our mayor, Mitch Landrieu, and the City of New Orleans, who support NOMA as a cultural institution, a cultural crossroads, and who have pledged to make the arts a centerpiece of the city's unique culture. We're honored today to have Scott Hutchison, advisor to the Mayor for Cultural Economy, have him here with us today. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you, Susan. Mayor Landrieu regrets that he couldn't be here today, but he wanted to let you know how excited he is and honored to lead the city at such a wonderful time, celebrating 100 years of this tremendous institution. With visionary leadership, both past and present, and a tremendous board of dedicated volunteers who have guided a vision for what a wonderful, long-term institution means to a great city like New Orleans. And we're thrilled to be able to welcome the many visitors here over these next 31 hours where they get to come to NOMA and see the wonderful treasures here that are here every day for them and for our millions of visitors who come every year. So we're so pleased to be a part of this, to have NOMA as the centerpiece of such a wonderful city park, such a gathering place, and for 100 years already, and many, many hundreds more. Thank you.
As Scott mentioned, this weekend we celebrate our 100th anniversary with the New Orleans community. And with our exhibition, NOMA 100 Gifts for the Second Century, we also celebrate the importance of our collectors, not only who have helped us grow our permanent collection, but who have enhanced it with works of art that are admired by our peers and colleagues across the country. As we continue to expand our audience and collection, I want to emphasize what we all think here at NOMA, that NOMA is your museum, and these are your works of art to enjoy. To celebrate the community's commitment to NOMA and NOMA's commitment to its communities, we're opening our doors, as Scott said, free of charge to the public for 31 consecutive hours. That is a marathon, with cultural programming that represents all sectors of our city and highlights some of the cultural offerings that we've presented this year at NOMA. We'd like to thank the 75 donors of this exhibition and the hundreds of great collectors and donors over the years who have made NOMA the premier art museum in the South. I also would like to thank and bring to the podium the chairman of our board, Cami Meyer, who is helping to lead NOMA into the next 100 years. Cami?
Thank you, Susan. It has been an honor to be chairman of the Board of Trustees during this very special year for our museum. Our centennial year has brought in many diverse audiences. This summer alone, we had attendees enjoying Secretary of State Madeleine Albright's pens and street artist Swoon's sculpture, all under this one roof. I'd like to thank my fellow trustees, the NOMA family of staff and tireless volunteers for continuing Delgado's dream. His vision of a temple of art for rich and poor alike is alive and thriving today because of all of you. And I have to give a special thanks to our NOMA Volunteer Committee, who is our fundraising arm, who have put on an incredible and wildly successful year this time. We began our year with a kickoff party for the community. Spring brought the Home and Art Tour that had the most attendees we have ever hosted in the history of the Home and Art Tour. An amazing Fabergé egg hunt and art and bloom. Love and Garden was spectacular, and the Centennial Odyssey Ball, chaired by Brendan Mike Moffat, broke all records. I'd also like to thank Ann Milling, who worked with John Bullard in acquiring our gifts for the second century. You don't know what an honor it is to be president of the board and have all these new pieces come into the museum under my chairmanship. I could not have done it without you. As Susan says, it is truly like walking through a mini museum. And John, you have grown our collection exceptionally and exponentially in your 37 years of service to NOMA and this community. Your professional and personal commitment to this museum and the New Orleans art community is incredible. 100 years ago, the newspaper declared the museum the city's most splendid possession, and thanks in large part to you, John, we still are today.
I'm so excited by our current exhibition. You know, this is a project that took several years. I teamed up with Ann Milling, who's the chairman of our acquisitions committee, and several trustees, and Susan. We met several times. We were like Santa Claus. We were making our lists and checking them twice, and everyone was pretty much nice. We have a few people who are naughty, and we have a special list for them over here. We're still working on them. We saw over 100 collectors. 75 of them responded, and in fact, we went over our goal. We wanted 100 artworks for 100 years. In fact, we got 110. And in fact, that's a little misleading because some of those items have multiple works in them. So for instance, Thomas B. Lemon, you'll see one beautiful, extraordinary etching by James Jacques Callot of The Temptation of St. Anthony. That's one of a collection over 100 etchings by that artist. So this gift to the museum, which increases the quality and the quantity of our collection in almost every area we collect in, is more like 500 new works of art, if you count each work individually. It was exciting because many of our trustees responded, but not every work came from New Orleans. We had support from across the state collectors in Shreveport and Monroe and Lafayette responded, collectors in New York and Chicago and other parts of the country, who all wanted to be a part of our centennial celebration and help us to increase the quality of our collection. It is the finest collection in the Gulf South. You have to go to Houston or St. Louis or Atlanta to find anything comparable. And even in those museums, our works are often superior, dare I say it. I'm not modest to talk about our great museum. And Susan was a great help. She wheeled in several collectors, which I had never had any luck with. You see, it's just a new face, a beautiful new face, was able to convince those collectors to participate. So this, the greatest pleasure of an art museum director is building its permanent collection. And it's been a great trip, and I know Susan is going to continue that. Already she's collected 2 great paintings that are not in the show because they're museum purchases, but they're hanging in the gallery. And so the museum is in great hands for its next 100 years. Thank you.
One can't conclude a conference without thanking the generous sponsors of this centennial year, and there are many. Canal Barge, Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, Jones Walker, Frederick R. Weissman Art Foundation, and the Sheraton of New Orleans for their generous support throughout this year.
The museum's going to be open for 32 hours straight, free. Anyone who wants to come. I actually wanted the museum to be open for 100 hours, but the staff rebelled. They said they could not stay up for 100 hours. So 32 hours for free, and we have our wonderful new exhibition, 100 new artworks for the next 100 years that have been donated to the museum, millions of dollars of new art to enhance our collection and be a permanent resource for the citizens of Louisiana.
Why is it important that people come and take a look at this exhibit?
Well, first, it's an incredible demonstration of the generosity of collectors and patrons here in Louisiana and other parts of the country. We have works here that were donated not just by collectors in New Orleans, but from Shreveport and Monroe and Lafayette, because we really are the largest art museum in New Orleans, and in fact the largest in the Gulf South. You'd have to go to Houston or Atlanta or up to St. Louis to find a museum collection of this quality and scope. So this is a permanent resource for the citizens of our city and our state and our region, and you don't have to go to New York or to Paris to see great works of art. You can come to New Orleans.
This particular cup was manufactured by Gorham and Company, who is also the leading manufacturer of Art Nouveau silver, of which we are the collector of this series of silver called Martelet, which won first prize at the Paris Exposition in 1900. This cup was given to Joseph Jefferson when he became the director of the Actors Guild of America in 1895 in recognition of the 40 years or so that he had been a top actor throughout the world. Joseph Jefferson was well known throughout the entire world, ranging with productions that he sponsored and produced from Australia all the way back to the central portion of Europe. He was the Brad Pitt or Clark Gable of his day.
Joseph Jefferson was an actor, and he has a home here at Live Oak Gardens, right outside of Lafayette, and at Jefferson Island. And he used to go all around the countryside acting as Rip Van Winkle and other people. And this is a cup that shows him in all three of his poses.
We have many works. There's a work by Degas, Edgar Degas, a wonderful drawing. We have works by Frank Stella, Sol LeWitt, Andy Warhol, wonderful pieces of work of African art and important Asian collections as well.
We've been donating to the museum for the past 20 or so years, 15, 20 years, and we enjoy it very much. We enjoy the study of the particular decorative arts as well as fine arts, and over the years have made donations to the museum. We hope that people will follow the example of the people who came before us and continue to have this great skill to be able to make beautiful things for the general public.
The current exhibition reflects the museum's permanent collection. We collect in many different areas of world art, not just European and American, but Asian and African and pre-Columbian Native American. We have photographs and, of course, decorative arts, glass and porcelain, and prints and drawings, and wonderful new sculptures. We have 6 great new sculptures for our sculpture garden. So it's a big variety. There's something here for everybody.
The people who have seen the exhibit have been remarkably impressed with the kind of work that's in the exhibition and the quality of work that has been donated to the museum. It ranges across all periods, cultures, and artists and media. So for them to be able to see something that we've characterized as a mini museum, a museum within a museum, and that has been a pleasant surprise for many people. I think the best thing about the exhibition is the opportunity to connect the collectors with the works and to look at the collecting patterns of individual people who have collected these works over a long period of time and who have thought broadly about their own collection in the context of the New Orleans Museum of Art.
I think it's important because you learn about your history, and the future is something that history teaches you. You can learn from the past and perhaps make it a little better in the future.
Our permanent collection is always on display, but the current exhibition of the 100 new artworks is on view until January 22nd. So they have plenty of time to come in and see it.
If people have questions or like more information, what should they do?
They should go to our website, www.noma.org. We just redid the website for the centennial. It really looks great, very interactive, and you'd find out a lot of information not only on exhibitions and programs, but the history of the museum.